I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, that was lovely.
Do you love it? Do you love the president? Are you readers? Do you want to see my bands? You've got to come to the toilet with me to see that kind of thing. You've got to come and see me drop trowel, do the drop trowel hop. I'm doing the drop trowel hop from the toilet back to the studio. I just said I had to get all of this out of me before now, because this is the part where Gillman acts responsibly. We will return with State President Nelson Mandela from the break. It is now 6:45. We're not late. We're never late with the president when we return. A big pardon?
Jill.
Jill. Where's this Mary? Oh, where's this Mary? You're not allowed to give me a... My name is,
She's in the office.
Secret agent. Where is her? Where's Mary, bruh?
She's in the office.
Is she here?
She's in the office.
She's not with us.
She's in the O's office, not here now.
Damn it, man, I wanted Mary. Talk to her.
A number of election candidates are going to come away from community elections.
What is this freedom?
SABC-TV to the minute.
Yeah, tune into SABC TV just to miss all the action.
Special broadcast in the Western Cape.
Hello.
It was a dark and stormy night when fate knocked loudly at the home of the Nells.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Pleased to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No. Well, there was some misunderstanding. Our program said we should be here at 7:30.
But then they always say you're on time. Maybe they just do what they would do with you, what they do with me, and that they tell me it's going to be 7:30 when they actually mean 8 o'clock, so as to make sure that I get there early.
Well,
and I'm still late.
you are the star. You know, they can tell you anything to make
So
sure
you
that,
say. Won't you take a seat for me?
Thank you. Where do you want me to sit?
Songs and that for you. Here is the songs and... What is this? Monday morning, May 27, 1996, is Nelson Mandela Day. The reason being that the state president is about to join us live on air until 9 o'clock this morning. I hope you have your breakfast ready. I hope you have your bag ready so that at 9 o'clock you can run down to the rail report station so to get on the train and get to work on time just to make this a greater city than what it already is. Stand by for Nelson Mandela in just a second. In the meantime, we would like to welcome him this morning by playing some of the greetings that we took off the Nelson Mandela greeting and question line brought to you by Vodacom. Those sound like this, Mr. President, if you'd like to listen up to the people of Cape Town.
President Mandela, Cape Town welcomes you, not as an eight-pounder, but as one of our very own. Cape Town loves Madiba in the morning, noon.
You are the best. You are my one and only hero.
Greetings to Nelson Mandela. I say thanks for being our president. I hope he remains president.
President Mandela, I'd like to say you're a wonderful man and I appreciate everything you're doing for our country. Thank you.
You are the best.
President Mandela, everything of the best and long life.
Yes, Mandela,
Viva Mandela, viva! Long live Mandela, long live!
Hello, President, and I love you. And Gillman, I still love it in the morning.
Step me. We love it in the morning. We love the state president in the morning. Mr. President, thank you for joining us here this morning. Aren't you Nelson? I was going to go, aren't you Nelson Mandela? You have made me world famous. And I thank you for that. I know you're going to act very humbly now. But you can say it's all right. It's cool. You're early. We're sorry to keep you waiting like this.
No, that's all right.
You see, it is him. The whole nation is waiting with bated breath to hear, is it the real? Because no one believes me, you see. You have to be the most famous convict in the world. You're a professional at doing time.
Well, I don't think I can comment on that myself. But there have been very powerful personalities who have been in prison for a long time and who were prepared to stick to their principles at whatever cost it demanded. And perhaps all that I can say is that I and my colleagues with whom I served in prison are in good company.
Have I offered you a jelly bean?
Well,
I don't think I have.
I'm sure you always heard that.
We always offer famous people jelly beans. Do you know Tabo? Do you know him? Yes, him. Oh, yes, him. He was here on Friday.
Oh, yes.
I gave him jelly beans. He said, give the press jelly beans. So don't say I didn't offer you. Here's some jelly beans. I want you to snack on these as we go through the morning. Stock up over there. Does it bother you that we often forget about your pre-Robben Island?
What are they? Are they the thing that is eaten? Or?
Those are jelly beans.
What are jelly beans? I want to know.
Get a sniffer dog in here. The sniffer dog will tell you. They're sweets.
That's sweet, sir. Just remember, I come from the countryside. I don't know those things that you're talking about.
Well, those. Okay. In that case, this is lesson 1. Those are cool. Try one of those. Try the black ones. The black ones are the best.
Well, I'll try it one day.
It was a little problem in the old South Africa, and that people had a problem eating the black ones and had to eat them like quietly, secretly. But they ate them. Doesn't it bother you that we have all forgotten about your pre-Robben Island achievements?
Well, I do not think that achievements of a political nature can be personalized. I belong to an organization with a long tradition of collective leadership. There are many of my colleagues who stand head and shoulders far above me in ability and in consistency. And I think that it would be you would put the matter in a proper perspective. If you look at the activities of an individual in the context of that principle of collective leadership, because many of the views I articulate are actually the views of that collective leadership. And I thank you for the compliment, but some of the compliments I really do not deserve, because they do not come from my ability as an individual. They come from a collective.
Do you miss being a lawyer?
I was a lawyer, but a very cheap lawyer.
Cheap in that you weren't very good at it, or cheap in that you didn't charge much?
Well, perhaps I say both. I was not good, and I was dealing mainly with poor people. In some cases, you had to carry out the instructions from a client on principle, and even without being paid. But even in that respect, I was not the only one. There were many people, lawyers, black and white, who acted free of charge in certain cases.
Let's go back to those pre-prison days. Were you a swinger?
What is a swinger?
A cool cat?
Well, that's a vocabulary that is far.
Okay, were you... Would someone help me here? Were you a funky kind of guy?
Well, you know, just remember I come from the countryside.
But eventually you hit the cities.
I do not know.
You hit the cities. You must have been pretty cool. I mean, were you out partying all the time?
Well, if you use a language which I'm used to, I'll be able to respond. But those cool cats are things that I don't know what they mean.
All right. When you finally came to the cities, did you engage in the kind of lifestyle that the city folk were engaging in?
Oh, naturally. Of course, I don't know exactly what you mean.
Late nights?
But...
parties?
Oh, no. When I came to Johannesburg, I was still a student. I had late nights, but in the library. And I was not free to engage in activities of that nature. And then when I finished my studies, I was drawn into politics. And I spent late nights addressing meetings, attending to problems. To that extent, I then adjusted to city life. But that is the only aspect I can recall. I certainly didn't have time to attend the dances and that. type of activity. Again, I was not the only one in that regard. My colleagues had very little pleasure, and almost all their time was devoted to political activities.
Do you now regret that?
Oh, no, I don't. It was the type of commitment to which I was drawn, and I thank those who influenced me in that direction. I don't regret it at all.
Tell us about Nelson Mandela, the young lion, the founding member, one of the founding members of the ANC Youth League, the boxer.
Well, it's not an easy thing for one to speak about himself, especially because my own achievements were very humble indeed. And I liked boxing, but at the same time, I was not a top boxer in the proper sense of the word. I just enjoyed the sport. And from the point of view of the Youth League, I really was not the person who thought of the idea. The idea of the Youth League came from a young medical student who was with me at Fort Hare, and who later moved to the Witwatersrand from the Cape and studied medicine. He suggested the idea of the Youth League, and we then supported it, and we were in the provisional committee and arranged for a conference, for the first conference of the Youth League. But that is the man, the late Dr. Machombozi, who must be given the credit for having thought of this idea. In the result, of course, it was a collective effort. There were people like Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, who became very powerful political figures subsequently.
You make it sound like you guys were very, very fired up in those days.
Well, we were young, and the youth are always very impatient. And later we were to find that some of the people we criticized were absolutely correct. With experience, we had to adjust our views as young people, when we ourselves now were given the opportunity to address major national questions in the country.
Did you use the boxing to vent that frustration?
No, the two were totally separate. And
who was your favorite boxer at the time?
Pardon?
Who was your favorite boxer at the time?
Well, I had no favorite boxers. Any boxer with skill I admired. And there was a wide range of such boxers. Of course, when you have a world champion like Joe Louis, like Joe Walcott, like Rocky Marciano, you can't help but to admire them. And we even, our style, we tried to imitate Louis shuffling around and so on. And Muhammad Ali, as a heavyweight, of course, introduced something new in boxing on his toes, which was not very usual with heavyweights at the time. And but there was a wide range of boxers.
What was it like meeting him, Muhammad Ali?
Oh,
were you nervous?
It was an unforgettable occasion. Unfortunately, I met him at a time when his speech had been affected. It was a painful affair to try to listen to him because he was absolutely indistinct. But it was a great moment when I met him in June 1990. in Los Angeles.
But obviously, there's more to your sporting side than simply you adorning a Rugby World Cup jersey and being president Bafanas win. There is a sporting side to you. Is it on the couch or is it the playing side? Because I'm on the couch.
Well, as the head of a government, it is your duty to encourage all achievers, all role players. And rugby is a very important sport in our country. And of course, the World Cup was something, which was of interest, not only to sportsmen, but to the country as a whole. And I think we had to give full support to our young stars. And it was a tremendous moment when they won, and because that put South Africa on the spot. I was aware of the impact which that victory had, but I had to go overseas to understand precisely what that victory meant. Because at the OAU, when they got the results, it was about 3 a.m. When they got the results, you see, they were dozing, they were beginning, the delegates were beginning to doze. But when they got those results, you see, the whole summit exploded, because they regarded that victory not as a victory of South Africa only, but as a victory of the African continent. I went to Japan, and I met the emperor, and I was quite surprised when the first thing he did was to say congratulations for winning the World Cup. Then I met the Prime Minister, I addressed Parliament. The Speaker also referred to the victory of Amapokopo. And then I was given an honorary degree by Waseda University. Not only did they give me the degree, they gave me a jersey, a rugby jersey with number 6. You can see
now you've got 2.
But,
I say now you've got 2.
yeah, that's right. I've got many. And
did you call anybody yourself that night?
You mean about the victory?
Yeah. Well, I mean, were you standing there with Francois going, "Come on, Francois, let's get this over. I've got a call to make."
Well,
who did you call first and say, "We've won"?
No, I didn't. But let me tell you, when I left that stadium, my nerves were completely shattered. I have never seen a game where there was no try, where there were drop kicks and penalties, and when it was 12-12, and they had the referee announced that he was going to give each side 10 minutes each. I almost collapsed.
Edge of your seat?
I was tense, absolutely tense. And when Stronsky kicked me that drop kick, the chap next to me said, well, that might well be a decider. And I was then worried, when will this referee blow the whistle? And
so you weren't standing there yourself going,
no, I happened to say at least to be glued to my chair. But when the referee blew the whistle, I just found that big body of Luzulesi around me, embracing me, and so on. It was
and you thought, what a big body.
A tense moment. And I was very happy about the victory, but I didn't phone anybody.
Your Secret Service have been in here this morning. They have sniffed everything. And I thought, what are they doing here? Apparently, apart from all the doctorates that you have, you also have an 8th Dan in karate. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
That's been bestowed upon you by the International Karate Association.
Oh.
Believe it or not. So you can quite seriously say, "Hi-yah!" and feel that you know what you're doing. I just thought I'd let you in on that tiny piece of information.
Well, my grandson, who's now 6, is likely to go to Hong Kong to a karate tournament. And but myself, I know very little about karate.
You've lived 3 lives, before, during, and after the Rock. Do you think your life would have turned out differently if you hadn't been imprisoned?
Well, it's futile to try and answer those questions because it would never happen. I would never have a chance again of living another life other than the one I have lived. But I have no regrets because I have been fortunate in that, as I say, I have been working with comrades who are very committed and talented and who have supported me tremendously and given me opportunities which I would not have had. People like Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, J.B. Marks, the father of this young man, Rusty Bernstein and his mother, were great politicians, great human beings. Whenever you were with them, you learned something new. And they were all humble men and women who would like to push others forward, and they would lead from behind. And if it were not for these people and that they pushed me forward, I don't think that anybody would have ever known about me. So I'm indebted to them, and that's all I can say.
What did you miss most when you were locked away?
Well, naturally, the family and your children. And to see your wife being humiliated and hounded from job to job by the security police of those days, intimidating her employers, and your children, small children, seeing their mother was a terrible experience. The type of excesses that were made are beyond words. We were not getting newspapers, but when something adverse occurred to my family, they would put a cutting on my table, and I come back from work and see how my family is being harassed. And that psychological persecution was difficult to endure. It was better to endure, things like physical assaults, but the psychological persecution could be very cruel. And of course, I was disturbed that my family was, as a result of my going to jail, was now exposed to this harassment. But that was a price I had to pay. I was not the only one whose family was being harassed. The families of comrades with whom I was were also subjected to the same harassment, especially the family of Walter Sisulu. The wife, his children went in and out of prison. And one of them, his eldest son, Max Abroad, was injured in a bomb. And even now, one of his ears is affected.
Hope FM, it's 8:10. You are listening to the voice of President Nelson Mandela, and of my own, who's egging him on. How have you adapted to life post Robben Island?
Well, it was not difficult because to adapt. There were the most difficult days when I was in Robben Island. From wherever you go now as a result of television, people immediately identify you. And the explosion of knowledge is tremendous. One has to try to adjust to that. But even at that, you had a good opportunity of studying in jail what was happening. The first time I was given television, I was quite surprised at the amount of changes that had taken place. Having been in prison for a long time and having left behind a country which was divided from top to bottom by tensions and conflicts, when you saw television and blacks are going to a restaurant and hotels which were reserved for whites, and it was something, you know, almost traumatic to one, because this was the type of life I was never used to. So I got used to this, and when I came out, I was not coming to a strange world I had not seen.
But you were longing to go to a steakhouse.
Well, I never enjoyed such luxuries. I used to prefer the food prepared by my mom. It had a special flavor. And I was reminded of this when I was underground, because I lived in the sugar fields in Natal for about a month. And I shared a shack with a family. The shack had just 2 rooms. And the lady of the house cooked her fish on a pan, and porridge in the same pan. But the food was very, very tasty. And
But even the president prefers mum's cooking.
Well, that is true. And but of course, you have a succession of mums, because the people who cook for you and learn what type of dishes you enjoy, they can also remind you of the days when your mom cooked for you. The young lady who is in charge of my official residency, Ella Governor, knows exactly what appeals to me. She knows that some food which is very popular to many people just goes to my stomach, but she knows what goes straight to my blood.
Like what?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of umngqusho. Well, this is samp mixed with beans, and that is what I was brought up with. And then amasi, sour milk. But it must be sour.
And she makes this for you?
Oh, she makes this for me. And,
did the Queen eat
pardon?
samp? The Queen?
What is samp and
You
beans?
fed the Queen samp?
No.
What happens if you have a steak dinner that you're hosting?
Oh, no,
Do you
no,
eat
I
first
will,
and then come out and say, all right, let's have a dinner, then you have normal...
No.
Roast
In
lamb?
banquets, of course, you have to comply to the standard, to the conventional menu. And you can't offer umngqusho and amasi to an important visitor. But people who are my colleagues will know that if I invite them for lunch or for dinner, I'll give them what they want, but I'll concentrate on umngqusho and amasi.
What?
Especially for the evening. I don't like anything else except those dishes.
Did you feel betrayed by, and this was possibly just the rumor that I heard as a schoolboy living in South Africa while you were in prison, did you feel betrayed by the rumor that other ANC members were a little skeptical as to whether you might give in and take conditional release?
Oh, I see. No, That I understood, it was reasonable, because for a politician to be isolated from other prisoners, it arouses a great deal of concern, because you will always be sure of a politician if he is surrounded by his colleagues and he is a visible part of the organization. And when he is alone, it is reasonable for people to have concerns, especially when I started negotiations, because I did so without consulting my friends, even those who were in prison, because I knew that if I went to them to say, look, let's start negotiations with the apartheid government, they would have rejected it. In fact, when I went, I called my colleagues to inform them now, to confront them with a fait accompli. I called Comrade Walter Sisulu first, who is our senior and a man who is very committed. I said to him, now look, I'm negotiating with the government. This is the progress that I've made. He said, well, I have nothing against the negotiations, but I would have preferred them to start, not us. So I said, well, if you're not against the negotiations, it doesn't matter who starts. I started. Then I called Raymond Mhlaba, who is now the Premier of the Eastern Cape. I was not allowed, by the way, by the government to call them all together. I called Raymond Mhlaba, and he said, what were you waiting for all along? If you had started much earlier than now, we would be out. Then I called...
Raymond was telling you what to do?
Yes, he was saying so. He was saying, what were you waiting for? Why did you start so late? You should have started much earlier with these negotiations. In other words, he agreed with me. But I then called Mr. Kathrada, who is now my political advisor, and a very capable person. We were in different wavelengths. He opposed that very strongly. Then I called Mlangeni, who is now a member of parliament, and he also reacted in the same way as Raymond Mhlaba. So Comrade Walter is a diplomat, and what he was saying is that I'm not happy about the fact that you started. And Comrade Kathrada totally rejected the whole idea of negotiation, but I had the support of these two. I then wrote to Oliver Tambo, and he replied very himself, quite sharp, what are you talking about with these people? And I had also to be sharp. I just said a meeting between the ANC and the government, full stop. And I sent the letter. Of course, I smuggled it. But it was when I then sent a memorandum, which had been I sent to President P. W. Botha, setting out why I had started this initiative. When our people read that memorandum, they decided that, no, this is the correct thing to do, and then gave me the authority to continue with negotiations. But if I had approached them before I had actually contacted the government and had some progress, they would have rejected it. And it was understandable, therefore, that they should have concerns when they heard that I was talking to the government. Perfectly understandable. I was not disturbed by that, because when you have a prisoner staying alone, and then you hear that he's talking to the enemy, any reasonable politician must be concerned. But I was sure that this was the correct thing to do.
Was Walter Sisulu your big brother?
Oh, Walter Sisulu is the man who brought us up.
You were scared of him?
Well, no, I would have been scared of him, if he was a tyrant. But he is a very soft, gentle person, very considerate, broad. Nobody who knows him would fear him. But he is a powerful person. And although he holds no position, he stands head and shoulders above all of us. He's our senior. We respect him.
Did they take you in a police van to Tainis to see P.W. Botha?
I say no. By then, I had, even before I was transferred from Polsman, we were using motor cars. And the first time this happened to me was during some Christmas, when the commanding officer came to say, well, would you like to see Cape Town? I said, of course I would. He says, come along. He then put me in a car. He drove to the shopping center.
And no one knew about this?
Pardon?
No one knew about this?
No. Drove me to the shopping center, got out of the car, disappeared, and I was left alone. I spent a miserable time because I did not know whether I would just see myself running away. Because I was just alone to be taken.
You were more worried as to whether you would either keep running or you go shopping, weren't you?
Well, I was
temptation.
I was concerned. I was determined I was not going to run. But I didn't know if I would control my feelings and not start running, because to be taken out of prison, a top security prison, and find yourself in the street, all alone in a car with the car keys there, was something, which unnerved me.
It would have unnerved me, all right. I would have probably stolen the car radio or something. I thought, oh, well, I have one of those. Tell us about that tea party, though. Here you are, you arrive at Tainis, there's Pee-wee. You walk in, what did he do? Did a sweat break out? Did a sweat break out in your brow?
I'm telling you, I was very tense when I went to see him. Because I went to see him in July. And I had sent him a memo, the same one which I sent to our people abroad. I sent him a memo in which I said to him that I would expect him to treat me in a dignified manner. Because
You said that in the memo?
Yes, because I had heard people like Archbishop Tutu, like Reverend Frank Chikane, like Alan Hendrickson, who said President Botha does not negotiate when it deals with blacks. He instructs them. So in my introduction to this memo, I said there are public figures in this country who have got a negative image when they deal with blacks. I will find that unacceptable.
Ooh.
So when I went there, I entered the vicinity of John Hayes. I wondered whether this is the thing I ought to have said. I was prepared for a fight, but tense because I used to be accompanied by about 4 warders. But on that day, there were about 12 of them. Warders, security police, and members of the National Intelligence Agency of NIS. And so I was a bit tense, and I was prepared for a fight. But if I have to judge P.W. from that meeting, of course I had 2 subsequent meetings now with him when he was no longer president. But if I have to judge him from the occasion, he was a very charming person. He put me at rest, and he served the tea himself.
Hospitable.
And it was a very, it was a meeting that I enjoyed.
Any jokes?
Well, in such circumstances, you can't avoid jokes.
Did you
But it was a relaxed interview. And it was on that occasion that we issued a joint communique committing ourselves to promoting unity in our country. And indeed, when I was convinced that the right wing was planning something, I traveled all the way to George to go and remind him that, look, when I was in prison, I met you, and we signed a joint communique in which we committed ourselves to promoting peace in our country. That peace is now threatened. And we discussed the matter. And also we had a discussion when we arrested General Malone. He wanted to come and see me, but I said to him, look, I'll come and see you myself. And I went down to see him. So P.W. Botha has been very cooperative in helping me to solve some of the tricky problems which we have had to confront. If it were not for that, those bombing operations by the AWB on the eve of the elections would have taken another dimension altogether. And we were lucky to pull out General Filioun from that. Because if General Filioun had remained part of that plan, it's doubtful if the army itself would have been able to deal with that. And so P.W. Botha has been very good, quietly. And some of the people, like some Africans...
This morning with State President Nelson Mandela, well, we're not joined with him. He's joining us. Just as well we're not joined with him. Have you heard the song Free Nelson Mandela?
Well, there are many songs.
This is the famous one. This one got banned outright. No song has ever been banned as many times as this one was banned. Can I play it for you?
Yes.
I want you to hear this. This is what they were dancing to on dance floors overseas while you were locked up. We weren't allowed to do it here, but we had the song in any case. This is Free Nelson Mandela, the special AKA, also known as the specials, at 8:30 at Good Hope FM.
Free Nelson Mandela. Free.
Said to me, you must wear a suit.
You want one?
I wore a suit like that.
Do you want one?
Of course, yes.
A suit or a Toby jug?
No, I want that.
You want the Toby jug? Okay. Let me tell you quickly the story about this. My brother collects this is made by. No, it isn't. He collects this kind of stuff. Now you know they've made famous statues of millions of different people.
Yes, right.
Kevin Francis has. They've one made of Ronald Reagan, and they made of all these different political figures. Then they decided, got to make one of the Man of the Year over here. So this features you, and I have to do this because my brother will kick my butt if I don't. Carrying your Nobel Peace Prize. You're sitting on a map of South Africa. You'll see the Orange River runs in there. You're sitting on top of Table Mountain. You're carrying the Nobel Peace Prize. At the back, the new South African flag.
That's interesting.
And the three arms represent the Rainbow Nation.
Oh, yes.
Now this one is not one of the South African versions. Let me show you the South African version. This is the South African version. In other words, made exclusively for this country. There are only 250. This one is number one. This one has to go to President Nelson Mandela.
Well, very good.
So I'm here to give you this one. What my brother would like to do is he'd like to give you two of these. Two more. Because they're obviously worth a lot of money. And given that they're collectibles. For you to sign so that they can be auctioned at Sotheby's for your children's fund.
Oh, that's very good.
Now obviously the idea is the South African version the overseas collectors don't have. So if you sign a South African version, give it to them in England, they'll pay vast amounts of money for it, and you give it to the kids. Good idea.
Wonderful.
So let me give you this one.
Wonderful.
I'm going to leave it there for you can have a look at it, and then I'll give you the box and everything. You don't mind.
You want me to sign this?
Well, hang on, no, that one's for you.
Oh, this one is for me.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, this is wonderful. Can I thank you by shaking your head?
Oh, please. Please. No worries.
Thank you. Thank you. You have made my day.
I thought that would somehow. All these people are thinking he's a bit old-fashioned walking in here with ceramics. We must give you the box. Why don't you pass them the box over for that?
Well, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. If you'll simply accord us the occasion for you to sign to, so that they can be sent to Sotheby's at a later stage.
I want to send it tomorrow.
It's a good idea.
Oh, can't I stand here? Have you got a proper pen?
I don't because I don't have the two statues. I don't have the two Toby jugs.
Okay.
But I'll bring you the two Toby jugs and we'll
Well,
sign
just send them to 10 days.
Okay.
Of her when I was in prison, and I didn't know of her before I went to prison. And,
Here's a couple of questions that we've taken off our Vodacom-sponsored Nelson Mandela question and greetings line. I'm going to spin it to you quickly, and you can give me your answer to the best of your ability. There it is written down in case you miss it.
Right.
This is one of our callers. Hang on. There's one of our callers.
You want me to?
Does the president have any gay friends?
Well, I wouldn't know this because I take it that they don't want to talk about such intimate matters. All that I can say is that there was a time when I reacted with revulsion against the whole system of being gay. But in prison, I had the fortune of meeting the young man who was doing his fourth year medicine at Wits, and who came to jail. He then explained to me about
how do you manage to keep
At your age, how do you manage to keep going day by day?
Well, I have said this is the boy who has done so. Me, it is me. And it is the support of a wide range of very capable comrades that enables us, not me, to do this work.
Here's another one for you.
President, what's your favorite type of music?
What's your favorite type of music?
Well, I like various types of music. And I like classical music. Well, at this age, I've missed many opportunities, which you heard. And
what, you want blue hair?
Well, I would not mind having black hair so that I should look much younger than I am. But of course, these are things I say which one doesn't do easily, because I like to be natural.
In the time that you've been the president,
Expect that. And I went to these people knowing that they were not members of my organization. I went to them, but as I walked towards them, some of them started running away. And by opposition parties or by my own organization, I think it's absolutely proper. Thank you very much. Go ahead,
we made these T-shirts.
Oh, this looks nice. Looks nice.
Tell me about your grandkids quickly. Come on, your grandkids. I know you want to talk about them. They're the sparkle in your eye. Tell me about them.
Well, I have got regret is not to have the time to spend with them and to listen to their dreams, their hopes and despairs. That we should be able to fit them in a hall.
Mandela.
Well, if you want my reply, all those stand head and shoulders above me. And I would advise anybody who wants to choose to concentrate on those. And because I certainly am not in their class.
Mr. President, you are of destiny.